Logic is the foundation of higher consciousness. Have you ever wondered why, despite all your searching, all your spiritual practices, all your moments of clarity, something still feels incomplete? Why is it that you can meditate for hours, read every sacred text, listen to every enlightened teacher, and yet deep inside confusion lingers? What if I told you the missing piece is not more spirituality, but more logic? Yes, logic. The very thing many seekers dismiss as too oracle-minded, too rigid, too limited. But what if logic is not the enemy of awakening? What if logic is the doorway? Stay with me, because what you're about to hear may completely reshape the way you understand consciousness itself. We live in a time where spirituality is often misunderstood. People believe awakening means abandoning thought. They believe enlightenment means transcending reason. They believe that to access higher consciousness, you must let go of logic entirely. But this is one of the greatest misconceptions of the modern spiritual movement. Because without logic, you don't transcend illusion. You fall deeper into it. Let me say that again, slowly. Without logic, you don't transcend illusion. You become vulnerable to it. Look around you. How many people claim to be awakened, yet cannot explain their own beliefs? How many people speak of energy, vibration, and alignment, yet crumble when faced with a simple contradiction? How many follow blindly because something feels true? This is not awakening. This is confusion wearing the mask of spirituality. And confusion is not a higher state of consciousness. It is a lower one. True awakening is not the absence of clarity. It is the refinement of clarity. And clarity requires structure. Clarity requires precision. Clarity requires the ability to distinguish truth from illusion. And this is where logic becomes sacred. Logic is not cold. Logic is not mechanical. Logic is not separate from consciousness. Logic is the structure through which truth reveals itself. It is the skeleton of understanding. It is the framework that allows insight to stand without collapsing. Without logic, every belief becomes equally valid. And if every belief is valid, then truth disappears. And when truth disappears, so does awakening. Higher consciousness is not about believing everything. It is about seeing clearly. And to see clearly, you must be able to ask, is this true? Does this make sense? Is this internally consistent? Does this align with reality? These are not lower questions. These are the very questions that purify perception. Think about this deeply. If someone tells you something that contradicts itself, and you accept it without question, have you expanded your consciousness, or have you abandoned your intelligence? Awakening is not the rejection of intelligence. It is the elevation of it. Logic is what protects you from self-deception. And self-deception is the greatest barrier to awakening. Because the mind is capable of creating extremely convincing illusions. It can justify anything. It can rationalize anything. It can distort reality in ways that feel absolutely real. Without logic, you have no way to challenge these distortions. You become a prisoner of your own mind. But with logic, you begin to see, you begin to question, you begin to refine. And slowly, illusion starts to collapse. Not because you forced it, but because it could not withstand clarity. Let me take you deeper. There are two levels of logic. The first is surface-level logic. This is the logic of everyday reasoning. Cause and effect. If this, then that. Simple, linear thinking. This level is important, but it is not the end. The second level is deeper. It is the logic of awareness itself, the logic of existence, the logic that governs perception, identity, and reality. This is where things become profound. Because at this level, logic is not separate from consciousness. It is an expression of it. For example, you say, "I am aware." This statement carries a logical truth. Because in order to say it, awareness must already be present. You cannot logically deny awareness without using awareness to do so. This is not just philosophy. This is direct insight. Now follow this carefully. If awareness is undeniable, then it becomes the foundation of all experience. And if awareness is the foundation, then everything you perceive exists within it, not outside it, within it. This is where logic leads you beyond the surface, because it begins with simple reasoning, but it points you toward deeper realization, not through belief, but through undeniable clarity. Many people try to jump into higher consciousness. They want mystical experiences, they want transcendence, they want to feel something extraordinary, but they skip the foundation, they skip logic. And because of that, their experiences remain unstable, temporary, confusing. It's like building a tower without a base. No matter how beautiful it looks, it cannot stand. Logic is the base. Logic is the grounding force that stabilizes insight. Without it, even the most powerful experiences dissolve into chaos. Let me be very clear. Logic does not limit consciousness. It refines it, it sharpens it, it aligns it with truth. But here's the paradox. As your logic becomes more precise, it begins to reveal its own limits. And this is where true transcendence begins. Because logic can take you to the edge, but it cannot take the final step. It can show you the doorway, but it cannot walk through it for you. At a certain point, you see that even logic arises within awareness. That thought itself is an appearance. That reasoning is a process happening within consciousness. And in that moment, you do not reject logic. You understand it. You place it in its proper context. This is the difference between immature spirituality and mature awakening. Immature spirituality rejects logic too early. Mature awakening integrates it fully, and then transcends it naturally. Do you see the difference? One escapes, the other understands. When you reject logic prematurely, you become vulnerable to fantasy. You become attached to beliefs that cannot be questioned. You lose the ability to distinguish truth from imagination, and this leads to confusion, not clarity. But when you embrace logic, you build a foundation so strong that when transcendence happens, it is stable, it is grounded, it is real. Let's go even deeper. Logic is not just a tool, it is a discipline, a way of thinking that demands honesty. Because true logic requires you to confront contradictions. It requires you to admit when something doesn't make sense. It requires you to let go of ideas that feel comforting but are not true. And this is where most people struggle. Because the ego does not want truth. The ego wants comfort. The ego wants certainty. The ego wants to be right. Logic challenges the ego. It exposes inconsistencies. It reveals illusions. And because of that, it can feel uncomfortable. But that discomfort is not a problem. It is a sign of growth. It is a sign that illusion is being questioned. It is a sign that consciousness is evolving. Higher consciousness is not about feeling good all the time. It is about seeing clearly, even when clarity is uncomfortable. Let me ask you something. Would you rather live in a beautiful illusion or a challenging truth? Because awakening demands that choice. And logic is what guides you toward truth. Without logic, you may feel enlightened, but you will not be free, because your understanding will be fragile, easily shaken, easily distorted. With logic, your understanding becomes resilient, grounded, unshakable, because it is rooted in clarity, not belief. This is why the greatest thinkers, philosophers, and mystics were not irrational. They were deeply logical, not in a rigid way, but in a precise, disciplined way. They did not accept ideas blindly. They questioned everything. They refined their understanding relentlessly. And through that process, they arrived at profound insights. And here's the truth most people overlook. Logic and intuition are not opposites. They are partners. Intuition gives you insight. Logic tests that insight. Intuition opens the door. Logic ensures you are not walking into illusion. When both are aligned, your perception becomes incredibly powerful. Because you are not just feeling truth, you are understanding it. This is higher consciousness. Not just awareness, but clear awareness. Not just insight, but verified insight. Let me take you to the edge. At the highest level, logic becomes silent. Not because it is rejected, but because it has fulfilled its purpose. It has taken you as far as it can. It has refined your understanding. It has removed contradictions. It has clarified perception. And then, you arrive at a space where there is nothing left to resolve, nothing left to question, nothing left to analyze. Only awareness remains, pure, undivided, self-evident. But here's the key. Without logic, you cannot reach this space authentically, because you will not know the difference between silence and confusion. True silence is clear, it is aware, it is stable. Confusion is cloudy, uncertain, unstable. Logic is what separates the two, so do not fear logic, do not dismiss it. Do not think it is beneath you. It is one of the most powerful tools you have. Not because it gives you answers, but because it removes what is false. And when the false is removed, truth does not need to be created, it reveals itself. This is the essence of awakening. Not adding something new, but seeing what has always been there. And logic is the process that clears the path. So the next time you find yourself seeking, pause and ask yourself, am I avoiding logic? Or am I using it to refine my understanding? Am I chasing experiences, or am I building clarity? Am I believing blindly, or am I seeing clearly? Because the path to higher consciousness is not about escaping the mind. It is about understanding it so deeply that it no longer controls you. And logic is the beginning of that understanding. Remember this, clarity is not the enemy of spirituality, it is its foundation, and the more precise your thinking becomes, the more transparent reality becomes, until one day, there is nothing left to figure out, nothing left to seek, nothing left to chase, only this moment, this awareness, this undeniable presence. And in that moment you realize you were never separate from it, you were only clouded by misunderstanding. And now, that misunderstanding is gone. This is the power of logic, not as a limitation, but as a gateway to clarity, a gateway to truth, a gateway to higher consciousness. If this message resonated with you, if it challenged you, if it brought even a moment of clarity into your awareness, then you are already on the path. And this is just the beginning. Subscribe to Inspiration and Insight, where we don't just explore spirituality, we refine it, we question it, we understand it. Because true awakening is not about escaping reality. It is about seeing it clearly, and that changes everything.